I could say, from the Eradicator.
Alright guys, we have some drama here. I'm gonna press the button on Twitch here, the drama alert. There you go. Because this is a video from Morphologist here, whom I really appreciate, but it seems like it's the title, sorry Morph, but that looks a bit clickbaity here. Star Citizen server machine Pyro delayed and I'm losing hope. Come on. This shouldn't be a surprise. Of course CIG are going to release Star Citizen Alpha 4.0 by either SeasonCon or the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, or it's going to be in the PTU or in Evoke, but something's going to happen around that time. Of course, it's the time of the year, right? So that's really not a surprise at all, at least not for me. Something we've been calling on the channel for quite some time, but let's hear it here.
By now, you guys have probably already heard the news. The next big patch for Star Citizen 4.0 with Pyro, the new star system, and server meshing has been delayed once again.
Yeah,
and this won't be
it
a
happens,
surprise
right? It's Star
to many
Citizen.
of you long-term backers who have developed a healthy sense of pessimism like me. Something I wish I hadn't developed at all. And it's making me start to lose a bit of hope in the project. And no,
And that's something that I see in the comments section a lot, right? A lot of pessimism. I have not been affected by that, luckily. Not yet. Maybe that's because I'm an original backer. I've been here since the beginning. I am way past that phase. This is the phase I was at maybe... I was a bit pessimistic at around 2019. Yeah, 2019, 2020-ish. I did a lot of negative videos back then. But after that, I was just... That was... that phase way beyond me. I think Morph joined the project a couple of years after I did, so that's why it's probably at that phase right now. It's okay, Morph. It will pass. You'll get over with this. Don't worry about it.
Before you ask, I'm not joining the Star Citizen refunds Reddit just yet. I'm a bit far from that. I've not lost all hope in the project,
okay,
but
good.
with the CitizenCon last year that I attended, having so much hype in it, with all the features they showed off, getting us excited about what was coming and talking about how it was going to come in the next 12 months.
Well, yeah. If CIG releases 4.0 by SeasonCon, yeah, a lot of it will have been released by the next 12 months, but if not, well...
It's hard to stay excited when they've delivered maybe 50% of what they talked about, if I'm being generous.
Yeah, he is generous.
What we've had so far in 2023 is the 3.23 patch. That's what we've got delivered to the live environment, and it contained mostly Squadron 42 polish, which is great and much needed, but ultimately not gameplay that transforms the experience of Star Citizen into something that's more like a game. And this is not coming just from me, guys. This is coming from Richard Tyrer, the now head of Star Citizen's development.
When I look at Star Citizen itself, it's a concatenation of a lot of features and a lot of content. I want it to be a cohesive experience that is all tied together.
Of course, we all want that, but for that to happen, all of these features need to be made and eventually polished so that they can all be tied together. It takes time, and one of these sealants that is going to bind everything together is server meshing, right? Without server meshing, a lot of these features are just not going to be working properly. We've known that for years now. It's been the main focus point of the past half decade now. We need server meshing. That's what it is.
Don't get me wrong, we have a lot of gameplay already in the game, but it's in isolated pockets. But I want the connections. I want the interwebbing. That's the difference between features and content.
The gods will bless us, won't they?
And a game.
So it's something that they acknowledged themselves, and it didn't even deliver everything that was originally on the cards for it. If you recall, the cargo and inventory updates were originally planned to release with 3.23, but
Oh yeah, it's been that one has been really hard to get out the door. It's still in the PTU. I can't believe I was thinking by the time of Monday in America it would be out, because I think the weekend was pretty smooth. No, they're still bringing out hot fixes. That's very strange.
Got pushed back and back and back until they eventually decided to make it its own .x designation for some reason. Even though this patch that's still in PTU now after 2 months.
That's a good point. It's been in the PTU for a long time. which is really hard to believe. It's probably telling how game-changing that is, right? Especially the persistent hangers, I think, are really a major improvement. But probably they must have changed a lot of the code and a lot of the gameplay mechanisms to make this viable and workable in game.
Only contains basically one major feature, the cargo update, which is part of the inventory change.
I don't agree. Having tried, and you guys have seen that on stream, I think that the personal hangers, especially persistent personal hangers, are also a major feature. What I've done here earlier on stream, and if you guys are watching on YouTube, this was released a couple of days ago already on YouTube. What I've done here, putting all my vehicles out there ready for use, this is big. That is a big improvement that's going to really help group gameplay in the future.
And in my view, no matter how I look at it, Star Citizen has only delivered then essentially one patch so far in 2023, and again, nothing that really transforms the game. So where then is the acceleration in development that we expected this year from teams switching over from Squadron 42 to Star Citizen?
That acceleration of development is subject to the release of server meshing. Once we have server meshing, we are going to see that acceleration of development. We are stuck. The transition from Star Citizen Alpha 3 to Alpha 4 is going through the same process as the transition from Alpha 2 to Alpha 3. If you remember, Alpha 2 to Alpha 3 took months and months and months. And when Alpha 3 was released, I believe it was at the end of 2017. Yeah, the very end of 2017. It took so, like, there were no updates for like 6 months. People were wondering what's going on. Have CIG closed their doors? Is Star Citizen dead? Did they run out of the league? Because there were also no communication about what was going on. And then CitizenCon happened. Oh, surprise! We're going to be releasing Alpha 3.0 in the PTU very soon, and we'll be release it by the end of the year. And people were like, "Wow!" Right? It's exactly the same. They're doing exactly the same process here. So that's why I'm not losing any hope here whatsoever. It's coming this year. Will it be in a rough state? Perhaps, but that's what it is. We are exactly at the same point when we were in 2017.
Where are the bespoke Star Citizen features that push the MMO forward to becoming a real game, to create gameplay loops, to create reasons to want to log in and play the game every single day? So it should come as no surprise then that I'm not the only one losing a bit of hope, losing a bit of interest in Star Citizen. It seems to me that the wider gaming community also shares this view and this feeling about the game.
There's no ERAD. You will not see any ERAD videos out there.
And this is something that can really affect Star Citizen's development in the future. It could really hurt the project. Now, I know some of you guys will just say I'm being a Debbie Downer, I'm being a negative Nancy, I'm being a doomer. But
oh, what a doomer, Morph. Shame on you, Morph, for being such a doomer.
The thing is that if I look at my own statistics on my YouTube channel in new views coming in to watch Star Citizen content, it's that it's lower than it's ever been since I even started covering the project.
Yeah, same for me. I'm getting levels of view. That's also why I've changed the format. That's another reason why I'm not going to be. Let me be honest with you guys. I'm not going to be spending weeks making videos that are going to get 800 views. You know, this is sorry. It doesn't make any sense. It's not a good. It's not a good time management, right? So I'd rather do that, you know, live streams, gameplay, have fun, put that on the channel, and actually it kind of worked. One of my videos earlier got, you know, several thousand views. That's the most I've had in like months. So great, right? Maybe Morph should do that. You know, maybe Morph should reconsider how he makes his videos and be maybe more time efficient and enjoy doing those. Perhaps that's going to be a thing. But he's also very good at editing. He's very good at taking footage. So he would be wasting his talent if he did that. I'm not that good. So that's why I do that. I'm not wasting my talent with this new format, but he would, I think. But it's true. The other point is that YouTube has changed its format. So before you had the tab on the left side where it was showing all of your subscription feed and you were notified every time a new video was out. That is gone now. So maybe that's another reason why views are down. I would say.
6 years ago. And while I'm ready to accept that I am a bad YouTuber and my YouTube channel is dying and maybe I should just quit, if I look at the CCU game, which covers data collected from the Star Citizen
Okay, so this is the CCU, right? Okay.
website, it seems like it's also matching my statistics in new citizens. Now, if you just look at it for funding, you might be deceived into thinking that Star Citizen is doing very well this year. That
Okay, so this is funding this year, right? So yeah, we're kind of on par with how it was last year so far. I would say that this is, what month is this here? That's August. Yeah, the month of August is pretty bad, right? It's about 2/3 of what it was last year, but it was a very slow month of August. I think that's September, October, November. Okay, yeah, it's kind of on par, right? But we are going to see how it is going to be with CitizenCon and also the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo if Server Mesh in the 4.0 there. I'm not worried about this year.
funding is covering up the issues with adding new developers to the game to help accelerate the project's development. But if you look at new backers, well, you'll realize that there's far fewer new people coming in since 2020. And those smaller numbers are spending more and more money on the project to keep it going. Which is why CIG have been pushing more and more ship sales to try to cover the losses in new players. The point of this exercise
And they are always going to be doing that as long as they need 1,000 developers to develop the game, of course.
is not to create a video that brings people down about Star Citizen, that makes it feel like things are going in the wrong direction. Instead, what I'm trying to do here is try to help create a real sense of urgency with getting Star Citizen to a better point for CIG. That the feeling that I have and that perhaps some of you share is not an isolated feeling, that it's something that needs to be addressed by real changes in Star Citizen's development.
They need to address what's going on with more communication. There's not enough communication. We need to hear from Chris more, not once every 2 years. Come on, Chris. What are you doing? Get out of your man cave, man.
To help the project succeed. And 4.0 being pushed to the end of the year is going to be a massive blow to morale for at least my community and me personally. We know from the history of Star Citizen releases that Q4 release patches are almost always released live the following year, at least in Q1, worst case scenario, Q2. Meaning that if we go by history, 4.0 is probably not coming out to live until next year, Q1.
Oh, no, Morph. I would disagree with that. I would disagree with that. We've seen that before. We've seen CIG releasing their patches also before the end of the year, and that's also what they seem to be confident about for this patch as well.
Or midway through 2025. So my problem is that I don't know what to look forward to right now. 4.0 seems far too distant to start thinking about anymore, and now I want to know what we're going to get in between if we get
We
anything.
could get
And
a
if it's nothing,
325.
then I'm really going to start feeling down. But I don't like making videos like this without giving some kind of constructive feedback. So here's what I think CIG
Alright, let's hear
could
more
do
constructive
to
feedback.
try to turn the situation around. And the first one is better contextual communication. Communication
Yes.
that is about things that people are most interested in concerning the development of the project in its current state. So I'm not talking about just any kind of info. As much as I love hearing about some developer who's working on really cool parts of Star Citizen or some personal information about how they started development, this is the kind of info
Yeah, it's interesting, but it feels like placeholder information, right? Like the episode of Inside Star Citizen about how they make concept ships and the guy behind concept ships. Cool for him, awesome, right? But we're not learning anything about the game itself, right? Oh, my nose. Bon allez, c'est reparti.
I feel could be released when the project is going well, when we've got a lot of tangible content to sink our teeth into, not when there's a drop in interest and there's a drought in new content. They instead should focus on things that are most important about Star Citizen's development that people know about and are very interested about. For example, what's going on with the teams that have swapped over from Squadron 42? Has that transfer been complete? Or are those teams still primarily working on Squadron 42? And if
They could be working on polishing.
so, what's the hangup? Why are things not going as planned so far in 2024? Then,
think that they
what's
could be
going
working on
with
polishing.
server meshing? How are things progressing?
Yes. Yes, CIG has really not talked about server meshing at all. We barely hear about it in the monthly reports. We've barely seen any updates in Inside Star Citizen, right? It feels so behind closed. It's always suspicious, right? Why don't we hear about it? What's going on? Are they blockers? Is it not working as intended? Why don't we have any more tests, right, in the preview channel? They said that we would have tests, and we don't.
What issues are the teams currently tackling? What's the big holdup with that? Why haven't we had any preview channel tests like they said they were planning on doing last year? How are things
Exactly.
going with the plans for 1.0's release? What is the 1.0 release for Star Citizen? What
Yes.
is a commercial release for the game going to look like? How
That's right. They have not told us anything about
many
that.
Star
right?
Systems is that?
Yes, Star Systems, right? What's going? Obviously, it's going to be Nyx, right? But what about after? They hinted sometimes a few, like, you know, Castra, Terra. The name dropped a few names every now and then, but nothing really concrete there.
That going to include? What's the next star system going to be for Star Citizen after Pyro? Is it going to be in a 4.1 patch, or is it going to be added in as part of 4.0 since it's been pushed back for so long?
Exactly, right? I mean, come on, Nyx. How hard is it to make Nyx? Nyx is supposed to have been made also a while back. Levski already exists. All you have to do is make a couple of desolate planet and a gas giant, and that's basically it. It's not so hard to make Nyx. So surely it's already been done, right? And I wouldn't be surprised if we hear that Nyx is also coming in 4.0 during SeasonCon.
And some of this information could be information that's discussed at CitizenCon. But if all they're going to talk about is still stuff we know about, like Pyro and what's coming in Pyro,
Oh, no, they better not do that. They better not do that. You're gonna hear the fart alert on my live streams a lot if they do that, guys. I promise you guys. You're gonna hear a lot of cheesy sound alerts if that's happening. I'm gonna get so pissed if it's about Pyro again.
and what's next in Pyro,
Oh.
we've been doing that now for 3 years, and honestly, I will probably walk
More.
out
4 years.
of the presentation if they end up talking about Pyro and only Pyro once again. And none of these questions are even
Well, 3 years, yeah, he's right.
about when. It's more about what's going on, and that's all I want to know. If you can't tell us when something's going to come out, fine, but at least tell us what's going on.
Yes, that's right. When is never an option with CIG because there are always delays. We never know. It's about what. What are we going to get eventually further down the line? Yes.
Following this better communication targeting things that people are more interested in concerning development in a drought, I'd also like to see them take more physical action to keep people interested. Personally, I would be way more excited about a preview channel release testing the jump points or testing server meshing than I am about testing moving boxes around.
Well, we're moving boxes because we're in the PTU for 323 and 324, unfortunately. That's what it is. But yeah, we should be testing server meshing and jump points. I don't understand why we haven't, right? What's going on there? We could have had simultaneously the PTU and also the preview channel at the same time. The thing is, probably they didn't do that because they know that if they have 4.0 in the preview channel, nobody is going to be testing 324. So that's probably why they haven't done that.
Even if it were only a few incremental tests, it would have been way more exciting this year for me. Also, there's a lot of people who haven't been able to test Pyro just yet. Maybe do another isolated Pyro test that doesn't have server meshing to test some of the features of the area.
And the new locations, right? We haven't seen Pyro 4, 5, the moons of Pyro 5 and Pyro 6, as well as Rune Station in the preview channel. We need to be trying these out as well.
How about preview channel testing of the destruction model that they've been working on, or the new changes to the flight model that they're going to do after the feedback concerning master modes? It seems like they're going to be retweaking stuff a little bit. What I'm saying here is if they can sprinkle in
I
some
don't
more
care about
tangible
master
stuff
modes.
that we can get our hands on before we can get that big update, alongside some information about why things are taking longer, I believe it would keep people at least a bit interested until you do the full release. Obviously, releasing 4.0 would turn things around, but I'm trying to be realistic here. If there are serious issues holding up the release of 4.0 because of server meshing testing, then fine. But at least tell us what's going on and
I think that's not what's happening. I think what's happening is they know if we test 4.0, nobody will test 3.24, and they need the testers for 3.24. That's what's going on. I think that by the time 3.24 is going to be out, it will not take long until we see 4.0 in a preview channel or in the PTU.
maybe
or
let us
Evo Caddy, right?
participate in testing to make it happen just a little bit earlier if possible. Beyond that, given the information that I have, I'm not sure what more they can do. In my mind, CitizenCon is going to really struggle to be able to raise hype for the game again like it did last year, given the lack of delivery. The
And last year was an amazing season. It really depends, right? If Chris comes out and say, by the way, we're gonna have 4.0 in PTU, open PTU tonight, oh, everybody will go nuts, right?
best they can hope for is to try to sustain it. And the way that I see them being able to do that is by talking about a release for Squadron 42, not that it's making progress.
Yeah, we need to have. They need to give us a release date. Now it's in polishing phase, right? They're polishing it. All the features are done. They're clearing out the bugs, making it more playable, bringing maybe some quality of life. They need to give us a release date.
And by talking about the future of Star Citizen beyond the 4.0 release, talking about what 1.0 looks like, what a commercial release looks like, what the next star systems are going to be, what new gameplay systems are going to be in that 1.0 release, and what loops we can expect to participate in. Anything less than that is going to be difficult for me to be interested in. And no matter what they do, it's going to be in the back of my mind that 4.0 got delayed once again. So
Oh.
yeah, what are you guys thinking of?
Come on, I know people say, "Oh, we need to take CIG accountable." It's another delay. I guess I'm used to it. I don't know. It's like, for me, in my mind, I never take what they say seriously, right? If they tell me, even if they give us a release date for Squadron 42, I know it's gonna get delayed because it is, right. It comes when it's ready. That's what it is. You know, it's like people telling me, my kids telling me in my car when we're driving, "Are we there yet? Are we there?" It's like, no, we're not. We'll be there when we'll be there, you know? And that's the same here for Star Citizen Squadron 42.
About Star Citizen right now? Are you feeling down about it like I am? Are you losing a bit of hope? Let me know down below and exactly what you'd like to see out of CIG to help stave off that lack of interest. And of course, if you wanted to help stave off the death of my channel, you
Oh,
can
come on, Morph. You're not gonna die. It's okay. Alright, guys, that is all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.